Good to see everyone again. Another year, another recruiting class. Again, very proud of our staff for what they were able to accomplish so far, and on signing day, like I say, we hope to. When you're pulling that, what'd you think? Just leave it. I don't need it. Keep it down. Keep it down. I mean, staff did a great job going out and getting the needs in which we have in this class. We've hit everything, large number of everything across the board. Wasn't a big year for offensive linemen. We want to take one, maybe two if it was the right situation, but we probably just going to take one in that scenario. But hit all of our needs across the board defensively, ends and even linemen, linebackers, secondary guys, offensive receivers, 2 quarterbacks, 3 great backs. Some other guys in that class in that position too, tight ends. So, very diverse class, very good class, exactly the things we need. Hopefully we still have another opportunity or so the rest of the day, so we'll see how that goes, but very happy where we're at and what's going on. And I think there's some great young players in here. We got 7 of them in already with Cam Akers and Cyrus Fagan, Hockman, Kane Doe, McKitty, Samuels, and Thomas, which gives them and that's a great jump as far as going into spring, adding depth and letting them guys get situated into our systems early and our workout routines and how that goes. But also very happy with the rest of the guys, with James Blackman, DeKalin Brooks, Corey Durden, LeBorn, Lawson, Marshall, DJ Matthews, Hampshire, Jalen Park, Brady Scott, Cameron Terry, Leonard Warner, Crown J. White, and Ontario Wilson. So it's a great group. A lot of size, a lot of range, a lot of athleticism. Extremely athletic. I mean, probably as many high 36 to 44-inch verticals maybe we've had in the class yet. So one of the more athletic classes we've ever had, I think, as far as that goes. Good speed, but a lot of length and range, which is very exciting in that regard. So good for that. Hopefully it's going to turn out. We'll find out in a year or two. If they're really, can't force guys to play. Some will play this year, some won't, and then we'll find out in about 2 years if our projections on guys are really good as they're helping with our class. So, any questions?
Jimbo, is there a percentage, just going off what you just said about, you'll find out 2 years from now, is there a percentage of how many guys that you want to hit in a class?
You want to hit them all, but we've been very fortunate in hitting a lot of guys in our classes. But if you hit in the 75 to 80% range, that's extremely high. I mean, people don't want to realize that, but that's the truth when you really hit that. And we have been hitting in those regards. So we'll wait and see.
Jimbo, everybody says it's hard to get 2 great running backs in the same class, or maybe 3. How are you guys able to keep all those guys?
Well, just honest. I mean, and listen, backs realize that there's different roles. You can play 2 at a time. Because in the way when you're in a split back formation, you have a true fullback. But those guys is like having 2 tailback, which is a very dynamic thing to do. Guys can split out and be, receivers and catch bubble screens and routes down the field. Do those kind of things. All those guys have those kind of qualities. And also, running back, you only have so many recs in your body. And learning to diversify that. And this year was probably more so than I've ever done as far as numbers of carries to a back, but I thought we had an exceptional one with just the way the season went, and Dalvin was playing really well. But we usually diversify that back when we had James and we had Carlos and we had Freeman, and then we had Dalvin in that mix, and we always had a large rotation of backs, and they see it being used, and those guys are making it in the league.
And is there anything to be said about their competitiveness, that 3 guys kind of stay together?
Listen, great players don't care. I've never been around a great player that I've ever recruited that ever worried about the depth, because they know they're great players, they know they're going to play. And those guys, they go take care of the business, they're going to play, so they don't worry about it.
Jimbo, what's the dynamic like when you're recruiting a legacy, like Brooks and Samuels? Do you go in thinking, all right, they're ours to lose?
No, you never do. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, and I'm going to tell you what, it's disrespectful. I would never expect it, because and those kids see through it, and it's not just because of what their dad's done here, and they were all great players here. Listen, and I wouldn't recruit them just because they're a legacy. I think it's disrespectful that way too, because if we don't think that's a guy that can help our program, you only hurt that young man. These guys, I thought, on their own accord, are guys that we think can help us win football games, have great futures here, and that's why we recruit them, and then we recruit them just as hard or harder than we do anybody else.
There's so much emphasis on this day, on signing day, but with the way recruiting is now being year-round, does it feel different than it did 10, 15 years ago?
No doubt. I mean, there's not as many. As I said today was probably the least number of guys that were the drama of National Signing Day as I can remember. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's only going, with an early signing period coming probably, it's even gonna dwindle less and less, in my opinion, probably as it comes on, and flips and flops. But it is, I mean, it's, a year-round cycle is taking some of that. You kinda got most of your hay in the barn for that sake, and before it comes signing day.
Do you prefer it this way?
Yes, I really do. That way you know what you got.
Jimbo, with this being, with the early signing period starting next year, do you feel like this is the last true signing day?
No, I don't, because you're still gonna have guys on signing day. Again, I still think we screwed up signing day. I think it should have been the summer. I don't think being in December, whenever they want to do it, is the right way to do it, but that's just my opinion on it.
The early enrollees, could you talk a little bit about how they've acclimated?
Been very well. Our guys say they fit right in, look like the guys, they've been here already. I mean, those guys are all adjusting, going to the classes and all that stuff, and getting acclimated. Workouts have now started. The guys have kind of adopted them in, and players all say they like them, and so they fit right in. They look like they definitely belong here, that's for sure.
Do you expect them all to be able to go to spring practice, or?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt they're all go through the spring.
A lot of those guys play positions where you lost some key guys last year, running back, defensive end, corner. Maybe you expect somebody to step in and be a downer in Marcus, but how good is it to get, top level talent in the system?
Well, it's good, and then, like you say, whether they end up starting or not, which they could start, but then they've got a spring in, got a summer in, so you're talking about even if they can be a quality backup and be ready to take 20 snaps a game, the opening game, and then grow into a role, or they may start it, you'll never know. Those are, to me, that's really big, really is.
Jimbo, you landed Leonard Warner earlier in the day. Just what would he bring for your defense?
Of size, athleticism, range, intelligence. See, that's a guy we've been in the battle with the whole time. It was us, Georgia, Stanford, Alabama, all kinds of schools, and it was a thing that we knew it was going to go down in the end, and we felt all along that we had one heck of a shot to get him. I just knew he would be a guy that would go through the process of looking strategically at everything he had to look at before he made a decision. But we're ecstatic to have him. I mean, he's got range, size, intelligence. Be an inside guy, can rush outside, plays the pass very well, very good ball skills, runs the track, runs the 400 meters on the track team. 228 pounds. So I mean, very athletic, long range guy.
Jimbo, your philosophy on recruiting quarterbacks, this is at least the second time you brought in 2 in one class. Is that ideal? Would you rather be 1 per class?
No, I don't think there's anything. You get the guys you want. You guys that think you can play, let them compete. I don't buy into 1 or 2, and it's worked out different places both ways. And I think both these guys are very dynamic. They're very strong in knowledge, arm talent, intelligence, decision making. They're accurate. I think they have a chance to be really, really good players.
With you, is it different though, recruiting a quarterback? Do you want to have more one-on-one talks with them to see how much?
Well, you do. I mean, because you're talking about the guy who's pulling the pin and touching the ball on every play. You want to know his DNA and how he thinks as much as you possibly can. And that's why the thing that hurts me is that they have to come to me a lot because I can't go out. I mean, and see those guys in the spring and the different things that go on. But get them in camp, get around them, which we ever do with both these guys, knowing who they are, what they are, and got them here for a lot of talks. And I'm going to tell you, on the board, and really intelligent football instincts and knowledge of the game both of them have. And pick things up when they were here, when you sit and talk to them, defensively, schematics, fundamentals, pick things up extremely well, learn very easily.
The two kids from Turner County, Georgia, how did they slip through? It seems like they slipped through the cracks a little bit in terms of recruiting service.
How Cam Irvin slipped through the cracks. Had us at Georgia Southern. How Xavier Rhodes slipped through the cracks. How Bjorn, it's been a lot. The guys do it. You get in those small towns, and it's hard access. People don't work sometimes. People get lazy. And these guys here, we saw Terry first, and this guy's 6'3", he's 200. He's going to be 220 pounds before it's over with, but he's 199 to 202 right now playing basketball. Going to be a big guy. Can really run, ball skills, routes, toughness, and then all of a sudden, we saw Terry. We saw him on the film and said, "Man, who's this guy?" And we saw him play basketball, and then we started really researching and went back and watched him 2 or 3 times. I think this guy's got a tremendous future. This goes back to guys. We'll see how he pans out, but I think a guy, found Corey Webster that way, found Randall Gay that way, Travis Daniels that way, guys that no one recruited. I saw Corey Webster 2 weeks before signing. He was going to Southern Miss, the only offer he had. There's guys out there, if you go flip up the rocks and study, they're not always, you don't always go looking for Jim. They just happen to be there, and we took them. I think these guys have a tremendous, tremendous future.
And then when other schools try to get in late.
Oh yeah, and after we are, Georgia, Alabama, everybody in the world got in. But I said that's the way it always goes. Because in the world of social media, once it starts, it goes, you know what I'm saying? Once one big time school goes, it happens, so.
Coach, when you're an assistant, you kind of find those players, and how do you guys go about bringing them to the board and bring to the discussion, say, hey, I found this player.
Put them on, come tell me, put the film on. Eye in the sky, don't lie. And then we find out everything we can, see if they have the skills on film, and want to watch them, and then have you seen them play, have you seen them practice, talk to the people, and just start the whole process.
Do you guys ever ask questions like, how come people haven't really found you yet, or
I don't care.
is that kind of alarming at first?
No, I mean, that's the other people's problem, that ain't the kid's problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody wants, what did they do wrong? They've been playing them where they've been all the time, and we've had quite a few guys that we've been very fortunate having guys that have, Devontae Freeman. I remember when we signed Devontae, when we recruited him, he was a 0 star. You realize that? Never started a game. He was going to be a senior in high school. Xavier Rhodes, 3-star. Cam Irving wasn't even on the board. He was a 0 star. Like Ontario, 0 star. I mean, that happens, man. And just, if I have to wait and tell somebody else to tell me he's a player, then I need to get out of the business.
Is that rewarding or exciting when you kind of flip on the tape for the first time and see a guy that maybe no one else has seen?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's exciting, but I think for the kid it is, you know, at the end of the day. And then you check out all the things that go with it. I mean, you don't go trying to do that. It's not a avenue where let's go look and find out all these gyms because I've done a couple of them. Because when you start going out, then you start reaching. Listen, the guy is either good enough or he isn't. We have to evaluate and judge when we see the film.
When you have those sorts of guys who kind of gone under the radar, what's it like to kind of talk to them and get in their head and just kind of see what it's like for them in terms of how they work and how they approach things? I'm sure they do come with the chip on their shoulder.
Oh, they do, no doubt, because they have something to prove and they want to work at it. And to me, that's the key, because at the end of the day, the talent levels are all going to equal out. It's the guys who want to work, who want to grind, who want to be driven and do the things that other guys aren't willing to do. Those are the guys that make it. And sometimes those guys do a great job of it, and we've been fortunate. I mean, sometimes they don't work out, but for the most time, we've been very fortunate in that regard.
Cam Akers, what went into his recruitment, and in general, how hard is it to get a kid out of state, especially in a state in the
At the
South?
levels of, when you get great players out of state, man, you're at the mercy of everything around, because you're, as I say, you're the foreigner. you're the stepchild, as they say, coming into that scenario, because you don't know, you don't have the background, you don't have the lay of the land, you don't have all the things that you know, go with it. And again, national brand name, consistency of program, success rate, graduation rates, personalities of your team, all those things carry those factors, and we were very fortunate. Our staff, Jay and Brew and those guys did a great job of, you know, we did as a staff recruiting heck out of it.
DJ Matthews committed real early, then it seemed like he visited a couple schools. Was he always telling you guys I'm coming, or?
I understand something. When guys commit early, see, all y'all quit talking about them. All the writers, you quit writing about them. So, what does everybody in the world want? What's everybody in the world want? Attention. Everybody in the world wants attention. They want to be special. Well, when they commit, there's no story for y'all. So you quit writing about them. So how are they going to get your attention? I'm going to come back out and open up recruiting. So they come back out and get attention. I mean, that's what happens. But he was very honest. He said, take some trips. You know, it makes you nervous, but that's part of it. I mean, guys, sometimes when guys come in early, they realize, oh, wait a minute, the limelight's over with, and they jump back on it. But and that's not always the case with him. I'm not saying that, but that happens with a lot of guys.
He's a pretty special guy with balls.
Oh, he's really good. And he can get open, he's dynamic, he's smart, he's a returner or a slot, but he's actually got enough juice to go outside. You know, even though he's a slider guy, you know, if you're going to go outside, you get special speed at that size, he's got that.
With the lack of numbers that y'all have at wide receiver, how much of an impact do you think he can make next year?
No, we'll see. I don't know. That's up to him. If he's good enough, the best players will play. He'll have an opportunity.
Jimbo, we saw with Derek Nottie last year, you know, he suffered the injuries and it kind of just held him back, and when he's fully healthy, you saw the push that you guys had. How important is it to have such a, you know, big standout player there up the middle?
Well, anything. It's like in baseball, you know, when you have a great center in basketball, it's fun to go play defense. He can be in a race around the goal. You got a great nose guard and stop the run, push the pocket. Baseball, you got a great shortstop, second baseman, center fielder, catcher. It's fun to play. You got to be strong up the middle. You got to. Everything starts inside out. When you got that push, now because the people now have to double, you now become one player better across the board. The guys, you can't solo block it in the middle of the attack and things. So it's a huge part.
When you guys are going through all this recruiting through months and months, and not even months, years, sometimes early in high school, is it rewarding when the kids finally sign the dot and you guys go back to the next?
I don't know if it's rewarding or relieving. It's relief. It's over with and start again, but it is. I mean, it's a combination of sometimes 3, 4, 5 years of work. You know, sometimes it's a year, but I mean, You know, there's a big lead up to that, and, you know, it's like a project, something you work, think about something you worked on for 3 years, and all of a sudden, you got right to the end, and it fell apart. How much fun, or you hit it, it's very rewarding and very, but at the same time, you get to turn around and do it again, and you can't take it personal, because you're not gonna win them all. Never have, nobody ever has, nobody ever will.
Well, obviously, Derek Brooks is one of the best that's ever played. His son, there's gonna be some expectations when you're Derek Brooks' son playing at Florida State from fans. Does he have the kind of mindset that can handle that, and is he his own?
We'll find out, but they're not gonna be for me.
Right.
DeKalen's his own person, I never wanna judge him that way, and that's why I don't ever compare players, and I think it's unfair for people to think that, so I hope they don't. I mean, and they may do, human nature may make you do it, but at the same time, let DeKalen be DeKalen. Let him use his own skill set to be his own player. And if we didn't think he could be a huge part of our program and play and really contribute to us, we wouldn't recruit him. We think he's an outstanding player, and the way we're gonna use him, we think he could really, really help us.
We're good?